What's up, YouTube family? Gerald Greenlee here with Clean and Green Lawn Service in South Georgia. Hey, before we hop into the video today, just want to encourage you, if you have not, to subscribe to the channel. I always plug that late in the video, and I know a lot of people don't watch to the end. You kind of scroll through and get what you want. My latest analytics on YouTube are telling me that only like 10.2% of the view time is from subscribers, which means I got a ton of people watching who don't subscribe. Now that could be because you tune in for some products that I show or test or whatever, and you're not necessarily interested in lawn care, and that's fine. But listen, here's what we got today. I have gotten a ton, not a ton, I've got one of my two hottest videos have been on the Agri Fab 48-inch plug aerator, and some of the questions have come from those videos about weight. How do you weight it down? I'm going to show you what I did to begin with. Some of y'all saw this to begin with. I thought, hey, it would be neat. Pull that out since I'm a lawn guy. I thought I'll just set 2 bags of Sackcrete on it, wet them down, and that'll be good. The problem is the vibration. They end up cracking. Now, they didn't crack all the way through, but I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say. They still would have needed to be strapped down, and then if you're gonna do that, you might as well put center blocks or something like that up there. So what I'm gonna be doing today is building a set of weights that will be removable, but when they're on here, they should not need to be strapped down. So if you're somebody asked me just about last week about some weights, and I told them to hang tight. I had a video coming. So I'm gonna, I'm not gonna show you every step of the process, but I will give you enough information where you'll be able to do this if you have an Agri Fab 48-inch plug aerator, or if you have a different type aerator. What I'm talking about will still work. The measurements that I'm going to give you, those won't work, and I'll try to put these measurements maybe down in the description or something. I don't know. We'll see, but I'm definitely going to share them with you as I go. So stay tuned. All right, so for my bases, I have 2 pieces of plywood. Now, I'm going to keep this stored inside, so this is cabinet grade plywood. I got a buddy that has a shop. He has tons of this stuff left over. I made it out of this. If you were going to keep this outside, it's going to get a lot of rain, a lot of water on it. Definitely go with some pressure treated. This is just some 1/2-inch, birch or something. But anyway, it's not made for outdoor for sure. But I cut 2 of them, 15 1/4 by 10, 15 1/4 by 10 times 2, 15 1/4 times 11 7/16 times 2. The 15 1/4 is the depth of this aerator. Now you may notice I have a gap back here. What you don't see this plywood is slid under these bolts, so I needed to clear that when it slid back. These are going to have about 4-inch sidewalls on them. Now, you could have done this 15 1/4 by 20 and did one of them, and this would be just one solid piece. And I may end up wishing I had done that. And you could have did this one, it would have basically been 15 1/4 by 23 or 22 and 7/8 or somewhere in that neighborhood. But the reason I chose to do this is I'm gonna put concrete. I'm putting walls around this and putting concrete in it, and I figured I would have them to where they weighed somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 pounds a piece, and that would give me 120 pounds on here, 30 to 35 pounds a piece. It also gives me the option if I'm on some ground that's not super, because this aerator, when you release it, it's either all or nothing. So if I were to get on some ground that was a little bit softer and I needed some weight, but I didn't need that much weight, then I could put one of these on each side. Now you might be wondering why one side is a total of 20 inches and the other side is almost 23 inches. And the reason for that is this lever is not in the center. You see the tongue is in the center here, and the way the tongue's bolted in, it gives you, you actually have more room on that side than you have on this side, because there's an extra row of bolts over here on this side. So that side's smaller than this side. And of course, when you were assembling yours, you notice in the video, we talked about which side the long one went on, which side the short one went on, all that kind of good stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these boxed up, and I'm going to actually have a way to attach them sort of to this, but it'll be like a quick release. So just stay tuned. I'm not going to show you building the boxes and all that. If you're mechanically inclined enough to cut out plywood, you'll be able to look at what I've done, and you'll know what you need to do in terms of doing yours. So I'm going to get these assembled together, and I'll check back with you. All right, so now that I got these sides assembled and the air compressor's off, that's that loud noise you heard, I pulled a measurement right here. I didn't cut these to begin with. I mean, I could have and taken, you know, 3/4 of an inch off, but anyway, I pulled my measurements for these end pieces to go in. I just want them to go in. Nice, nice snug fit. So I cut 4 of those. In my case, 8.5. And 10 inches. Again, if I were you, I would pull a measurement on that. You may be noticing that I use glue. I do help build some cabinets from time to time, and you don't really probably have to glue this. As a matter of fact, you could put screws in this if you wanted to, but glue with wood, I always say glue is your friend. Glue just, it really holds it together. And I mean, it will stand the test of time. Again, I'm using indoor plywood in an outdoor application, but I don't plan to have it outdoors all that much other than using it. And so anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get these knocked out. I'll probably speed it up and let you see me do this, and then we'll move to the next step. Okay, so stage 1 is complete. We have 4 individual, now that does have just a little bit of slack, but I got something to take care of that. We have 4 individual weights. Okay, well, we don't have weights yet, but oh, you got to see my nasty shop. Once I start putting this sackcrete in those boxes, we're gonna have weights. Now I got a total of about 160 pounds of sackcrete. I'm only going to do about 120 pounds. That is the plan. And I think these boxes will hold that. I hope they will with the lips that I put on them. Again, these are, I didn't give you the height of these, but you can see right there about 3.5 inches is the height. I should have went 4, but here's how that worked out. I picked up a board that was already ripped. It was 3.5 inches. I mean, I haven't done the math to see what it's gonna hold, but I think I'm gonna be fine. So I'm gonna show you a couple other steps to this process that I'm gonna take. One of the things is, I do not want, when I pick this up, because I'm gonna have me a little handle on it, when I pick this up, I don't want the concrete to come out of this box. So what I'm gonna do is take some 3-inch screws and run in through this box, okay, from the outside in, so they'll be sticking out in here. And when that concrete sets up, it'll be there, you know. So I'm going to do that, and I'll show you the finished product. If you're going to use screws to hold the box, you know, the box to the concrete, which is basically what you're doing, make sure that you only put them in the long, in these short ends. Again, using the measurements that I use, because these boxes have to go we made these boxes to go tight, 2 on that side and 2 on this side. Now I could have put screws in the outside here and the outside here, you know, if I wanted to, but you definitely want to leave one side without screws in it. Again, all this is doing is holding the box to the concrete. The concrete's what's heavy. It's not like these are supporting the weight of the concrete, so you're going to be fine on that. So anyway, let me get them set up in here, show you what I consider to be a something that's going to really help as far as removing them quickly. All right, let me show you what I got here. These boxes have bolts through them. Now, and I've drilled holes through here, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. Let me set it back in. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. Getting everything like I want it. All right, and I want you to look under here. I made sure, even, you know, because these would hit if I did not do it right. You could use shorter bolts. This is what I had. These are some galvanized hex bolts. These right here are, I think, 2.5 inch, 3/8 hex head. Carriage bolt. A hex head might have worked better because the concrete would actually get around it and you wouldn't have to worry about it turning over time. What I did is I added these little screws here, but again, this is going to be poured full of cement, so that's not going to come back up. Now, I'm going to mark these like 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put like a B on here for back, or either write it on the cement or whatever the case might be. And you know, I may actually, what I may do is mark these, even go so far as to put 1 screw here, like a silver screw, 2 silver screws, 3 silver screws, 4 silver screws, or something like that. And then mark on here. That way I know what order they go in. Because these bolts, I didn't take the time to measure and try to get these bolts exact, the same on each end. They're close, but you probably wouldn't be able to flip this around and use it the other way. So you just come up with whatever kind of method you want to mark that, that will work for you. So I'm going to show you, actually walk you through doing one here real quick. I'll probably end up speeding it up just a little bit because I've kind of already told you what I've done, but just so you can see. Because I have a 3/8 here, I drilled that out, you know, tight. So it doesn't really matter what size bolt you use. I made that tight, and I drove that bolt in through the wood, through that 3/4 wood. But now I oversized. It's a 1/2 inch hole that it's going into, so there's actually just a hair of play in it, make it easier to get in and out, especially with this thing weighing 25 to 35 pounds. So you got to keep that in mind when you do it. So I'm going to walk you through doing one. Remember, when you drill your first hole that you're going through the wood, you want to make sure and use the correct size bit that you need to drive your bolt in and it be tight. And I'm just drilling through my wood long enough to get a good mark on where I need to drill the oversized hole. So then I'm going to take this. Now the bolt's going through there, but what I'm driving in is that square part. I'm actually driving it in to the wood. And as you seen a while ago, I actually put 2 screws on each one of these in this box to hold it. Those are fairly tight, but now I've got my holes marked here. And like I said, I'm going to drill these out with that 1/2 inch bit. And that's going to give me a little bit of play. And I may even come back over time, because again, I use 2.5 inch bolts, so I don't really have to worry about it hopping out with the weight that it's going to be. And I may even make these a little bit larger if I have trouble getting them in and out. Now I will tell you one other option I considered here while we're on it. I just want to show you this. I did consider putting 2 pieces of 3/4 on the end, making it basically 1.5 inches, and then just running screws into here to hold them in. I'd had to put another hole over here, but then you have to have a drill to do it, and I think running those screws in and out over time is probably going to wear out. It'll probably end up wearing out and walling out the holes, and it probably just wouldn't work the way you wanted it to. Now I can't remember which way I had this turned. That's not the right way. Or maybe it was. It was the right way, okay. Okay, there we go. See, that sets down nice, and it's against these bolts here, and that kind of helps it. And again, what I'm going to do, 2 3/4 inch screws on each bolt. You could even put a washer on these screws. These are some cheap screws, one of those little cheap kits I bought, and they just about aren't worth the box they come in, but it's, and I probably got some better ones in a bag somewhere, but I don't have those out, so I'm just using what I got out here. If the old guys from the boat plant saw me struggling with these screws like this, they'd be making fun of me for sure. I've run a many screws in my lifetime. Built boats for 18 years. Built was a supervisor or something, but we had good quality screws. That 3/16 stainless you're supposed to use on bolts. All right, so that's one side right there. Just let you get, once again, a good look at that. These will come out independent of one another. That one is a little tight. And like I said, I may go back and make those holes bigger. Once again, I'll give you a side shot under here. You see my tines. I got pretty good clearance, and plus I put them out so far. You could have put them out here and it wouldn't hit anyway. That's part of the reason I come way out like that. Now, I just had an idea. One of the things you could do if you're putting your bolts in, I didn't think about this, but you know, I was talking about marking them. You could actually offset these. You could put one like over here and then put the one in the middle, and you would know that the one offset went to the rear of the machine, so of the attachment. So again, that's just an idea for you. I'm walking you through. This has been in my head for months, and I'm just kind of walking you through this as I go. The advantage is, if you're thinking about doing something like this, you can certainly improve on it, because you've watched me do it and you say, oh, he made a mistake there, he probably shouldn't have did that, it'd be better if you did it this way. So you have the advantage, okay? But that's all right. This is going to work for what I want. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this other side done. I'm not going to video any of that, and I'll kind of show you when I get all of them in. All right, there we go. The boxes are complete. I am definitely going to make those holes bigger. I've already seen some benefit in doing that. I will tell you this too. This was not my first design. My first design was to run a bolt from under the bottom here, put a nut on the top, bore out about an inch hole in here, and put a piece of PVC, or well, actually I was going to put a piece of 3/4 inch PVC through this. I was going to let that PVC run up, you know, basically flush with the top, matched up with the bolts. So the PVC would have went here where the bolts is, and basically the bolts would have always been on top of this, and I would have just took this and set it over the bolts. You know, and that would have worked fine. One of the benefits to that would have been this. Right now, the issue I run into is I cannot take these off and set these flat on the ground. So these will have to be set up on the edge, and I'll just set them up in my shop somewhere on the edge. While I'm thinking about it, you know, I glued these. You should glue them. You can run bolts in, you know, I mean screws in rather. But I found with that wood glue and, you know, even nailing it like I did, usually you have to rip, you know, you'll tear the layers of the veneer away trying to pull it apart if you've ever had to take a cabinet apart that was glued. So anyway, these are built. I am going to get this thing set up level, somehow situated, I think, and I got to figure out exactly what I'm going to do about handles. I thought about getting me some large rope, tying knots on the end and sticking it down in there and then pouring the concrete, and then obviously once it dried, those knots would not come out. I don't know that I have any of that rope here. I bought some rope a long time ago for a swing that I built, but I don't believe I have any of that left. You know, so I may, you know, again, what I'm doing with this, I may get some Romex wire and tie knots in it and stick it down in there. I mean, you know, I'd have to get some 12 gauge or something, and I probably have some of that around. I just got to see what I got, what's available to me here in my shop. I'm probably not going to buy anything for this. And then over time, if I put something in there and it does break, I can always come back and put handles on the end of this thing, you know, like cabinet handles or whatever. You know, if I needed to. So there's some other options for what I can do there, and I'll get that figured out. But anyway, you know, you can think about that, what you want to use for handles. I thought about getting some kind of, you know, grab handle type things and just sticking them down in there and letting them set up in the cement. You know, you could even run bolts out the ends of these boxes from the inside and go out, you know, a bolt like a 4-inch bolt or something like that through here, and then just grab it on each end and pick it up. I mean, because again, you're talking about, you know, 30 to 35 pounds, somewhere in that neighborhood. So you're not talking about something real heavy. But anyway, I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do there, and I'll get back with you and show you when I figure that out. All right, so I ran around my shop and I looked at 2 or 3 different things, and here's what I went with. Now, you may say, I know any of you electricians watching the channel, you're going to have a fit right now. But let me just say this. These were pieces I had laying around. Like, this ain't even the same as that wire. That's probably actually that may be a 14 gauge. But what I did is I twisted it, and obviously I'm going to set it up straight in there. Yep, I'm an overachiever. I did put wire. Again, I just have, you know, I'm one of them kind of people. If you watch the channel long enough, you'll find out I'll do about anything. I mean, I'm just active, want to do stuff. When I'm not preparing sermons or ministering to the congregation or trying to reach the community, I'm doing something. You know, I find something to do. Like I got a whole roll of wire right there. You know, I got goats. Of course, we got fenced in back, you know, yard for the dogs and all that kind of stuff. So you know, look, when you have a shop this junky, I'll just give you a tour. I mean, I don't know how much. There's a mailbox I bought a year ago that I haven't put up, a new one. I mean, you know, woodworking tools, scrap wood, you know, electrical. Look at this. You need some painting done. A Magnum X5 airless sprayer. Used it one time. Bunch of paint up there. Paint down there in 5-gallon cans. There's my heater for the winter. There's a whole roll of Romex, but I had pieces. I had a couple outside, a couple up here. I probably shouldn't show him on Facebook, but I'm not going to say what it is. But anyway, I mean, you know, bed frames, man, you know, I just keep all kind of stuff. So there's always stuff just to pill around with. Again, I'm not trying to make this thing to sell it. I'm trying to make something practical that'll work, and I'm taking you along for the journey. If you want to go out and buy $20 handles, or you want to go purchase you some rope, make it look better, you could put a piece of rope on it. If I had a smaller piece of rope, I got some 3/4 inch PEX pipe. I could have wrapped that PEX pipe around a piece of rope. I could even put that PEX pipe, honestly, I could put it around this Romex right here. And I'm almost starting to think that's a good idea. But anyway, you know, I am going to pull these up and oversize these holes, and then I'm going to put my concrete in there, I think. I don't know. Actually, I may not, because I kind of want to hold it where it's at. So I may just, I may have to fight a little bit to get them out if it gets wedged. But I got to get something set under this tongue, make sure this thing won't flip backwards, and then start putting ready mix in it. I did get ready mix. This is I mean, this is Scruggs. Scruggs is a local company for us, but basically all you got to do is take this stuff right here and just pour water in it. You know, just get enough to make sure it penetrates all the way through. I might mix a little bit up in a bucket, just to try to get a little bit better even application of it, you know, as far as putting it in there and making sure my handles stay up. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna put the concrete in there. I'm gonna roll with it. All right, that's what it looks like. Now, one of the things you may notice, you might be wondering, what about the weight distribution? Obviously, these boxes are bigger. Combined, you have another 3 inches on this side widthwise, versus this side. So this side's like 20 inches. This side's like 23 inches. Same depth. I did not change the depth. You know, in hindsight, I probably could have made these 4 inches tall and left these at 3.5. I am guessing right now that I have about 120 pounds on here. So what I did is I did not fill these up. These are somewhere around 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch from the top. So that's going to help a little bit with the weight distribution. You know, I did try to spray off the bottom really, really good. As a matter of fact, I can see something right now that I need to take care of, where the cement is over the box here. I need to get that off. And I made it pretty wet. I wanted it to run down in there good. I did mix it in a 5-gallon bucket. And again, you saw I put the wire in here. So now I fill these up to overflowing basically. And I might could have got a little bit more than that one. But what I was trying to do is fill these all the way to the top, not quite fill those up, kind of get the weight right. All right, so if you were doing this, what would you do different? All right, I gave you the measurements for these boxes. I told you, and that's the bottom piece. Everything sits on top of the bottom piece. The bottom piece is your actual base measurement. That's what you need in the on top of the aerator. If I had it to do over, I believe what I would do is make the small boxes over here 4.5 inches high. That's another inch. I would make these 4 inches. I still probably would not go all the way to the top of these. I'd probably still only fill up to about the 3.5. You could go all the way to the top though, and then go all the way to the top on these. That'd give you another 1/2 inch over that area. That would get your weight distribution closer. Now you can do the mathematics on it if you want to figure out the area of the box. When your teacher told you you'd need geometry one day, well, you could use it for that. I have about, I would guess, a little less than half the bag left. The 2 bags would have been 160 pounds. I have probably used 45 pounds out of that one, which means I have about 125 pounds on here. I believe the max on this, I don't have my paperwork with me, but it was, I know it wasn't over 140. Because I had actually taken these bags that I bought and put on top, I had tore some of the middle out of them before I filled them with water so they would set up, just to try to get the weight down. Because you don't want to overweight it and end up bending the axle, bending or breaking the tires or something like that. You know, and if 120 pounds is not enough, you know, to do it, well, you might at that stage want to get a farmer or somebody if you live by one, or get a professional to come out and aerate, or you know, get a farmer. We got farmers around here with 6-foot spike rollers that pull behind tractors on these big drums. They are heavy, and they would go over and plug this ground, I'm sure. So anyway, you know, leave me some feedback in the comments, whatever you think. Hopefully, in one of the next videos that I do, this will all be set up and I'll pull it off of there and let you see it and everything like that. But for now, that's a wrap on this hack for the Agri Fab 48-inch core aerator, plug aerator. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop me a comment, like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. And my prayer for you is always the same, that I got a big ant trying to get me, that the Lord might richly bless you and that you might see all of your blessings as from him. Have a great day.